Okay, my question comes from what Linda asked Matthew earlier, and is specifically related to Matt's comment about how if you present glitch architecture to our tutor, who happened to be Frank, you get shot down. And I was in that class, so I know what happened. But I think what the specific objection to that was that what you presented was you said that the glitch happened and these errors happened, but what you didn't do, and what Ben specifically mentioned, is you didn't set up the system which allowed that to happen. So the objection was not to incorporating glitches in architecture, but the fact that you said they would happen without outlining the system. So you had the error without the system to make the error. So it was like you were designing in the glitches before you had any kind of sense of the system.
Yeah. That was the week after I got slammed by Frank that I'm talking about. I understand all that. That was a technical thing though. This takes time.
Right. So my question is, do you see the architecture as the system that makes the glitch, or is what makes the glitch happen, or what makes your experience of unexpected events, whatever you want to call it, something that gets overlaid on that?
Well, I'm a phenomenologist, so I think that the building is everything that it feels to be. So if I go and kill every single person in this room...
Starting with me, apparently?
Starting with me. I don't care about Charles. I'll start with Charles. Anyway, that has a phenomenological effect, right? That, you know, people come in this room, there'll be blood splattered everywhere, and the form hasn't changed, but the feeling of the space has changed. The glitch, in the end, allows us to do that in an unconstructed manner, which is what I find.
But there's got to be something that allows that to happen. There has to be a mechanism that creates a change in the system. It's the phenomenological
response between the system and the user that lets that happen. The building does something I don't expect, then it happens. It's the system not doing exactly what the user thinks it's going to do.
Okay, so you're saying that the glitch in the architecture is related to how you... So it's the space between something happening and your response to it. It's not actually what happens.
It's not what happens, it's how you respond to it. You have to notice it's there for it to be a glitch. Do you want to say something?
I'm adding on to Ash and I'm asking your question. So is the glitch the event of your response? Like, is that your response, or is the glitch the architecture itself?
The glitch is between the two, but in the end, it has to be the response. You have to recognise that something's happened. It's in your head. Because the computer system itself... Are you listening to my answer?
Yes, sir.
Good. The computer system itself doesn't have this thinking. It doesn't have this way to say, hey, I'm going to fuck up. You have to realise that it's gone wrong. It's all in your head in the end. And the computer itself and the system itself is thinking it's doing okay.
Okay, so you're saying the images you showed of your project earlier, where you showed us, I think there were 4 of them, that something had gone wrong.
Something had gone wrong.
And then you showed us the one that was right. So are you saying that the computer or the system would not recognise those first outputs as something having gone wrong?
Well, it didn't, but let me continue photoshopping. It considered that to be... But then again, who am I to say that it's not a proper solution? It's just not the solution that I wanted. Those images gave insight in how the computer saw the image. And so, obviously, the computer's still working. It's still kind of breaking it up into its squares and breaking it up into a system of, like, sections to render individually onto the screen. But then when it comes to generating that image for me, it's not exactly what I want, so I myself consider it a glitch, whilst the computer merrily going along, doing whatever it wants because it thinks it's doing right.
But in...
Go, Jackie.
Sorry, can we just go Harsh's last question because we haven't got much time? We could really talk about this after class if you want.
We've talked about this for 6 months. Let's do it.
Hi. Hi. Upon my observation, I found that what you presented is a very interesting aspect of the technology that can relate to architecture and is quite integrated principally with architecture. And there are some questions that arise from this, the way you presented to us. The first question is about the authenticity of architects and how responsible the architects are in manipulating the technological use and in subjecting the clients to technology in their world. And also, this is one important question, and also, if it's a very empowering, it's a very extreme scope of the way you be about architectural world, such as if it is almost, it's going extreme in the world. And so, but architecture at the same time, it doesn't really, I think that it is really important for architecture to be all encompassing and all inclusive.
I guess the whole idea of the ownership of the image and the sort of how technology is sort of the break between how the camera is sort of controlling the power of what we see, and if we sort of break that truth of what that camera is giving us, then I guess we can sort of use that application on a wider range. Do you want to talk about the Harvard vision?
I think saying it's becoming all-encompassing is interesting because it's whether it's, I don't know whether it has any more answers that it might have had in the past. It's just in our context we're looking for more answers with the digital introduction, and so it might seem like we're answering more questions and we're covering so much more, but maybe we're just looking for the answers through a different means, as opposed to in the past where they might have been fully satisfied with all the answers through a section or a plan, and maybe just one perspective from an artist.
It's very interesting, but at the same time, most of the times, it's obvious that the way we understand architecture is based on experience, personal experience, and personal understanding, and also, most importantly, in one way, appreciation of architecture. And in order to break the architecture around, it has to be flipped the way we appreciate architecture. It's like we have audio and architecture in our own world, so it's very interesting that digital is one targeted influx of the different words that intersect each other. And at the same time, this is the question of trying of the truth that is becoming lost in the medium of digital technology.
Well, I'm not sure I understood that last question, but I think what you were saying before about how we have architecture within. I do think that's a very beautiful statement because, and I think that digital, maybe that's a form that we're using recently to try and get that architecture within out. But the important thing is to note that it's through a language that's not our own, it's through a digital language.
So language is a really integral principle in architecture in a way.
All right, I think we'll leave. Oh, Charles, have you had time for another one question? Cool.
This is more of a comment and a question at the end, but if you look at technology, like when you started with the Renaissance and Alberti, which was using sort of optical grids and a way to see the world, which was translated into painting, and then when you go to the camera obscura, which is bringing the outside inside, and then you go to the camera and the negative, which was about reproduction. And digital technology seems largely about immediacy, and it gives you a lot of that kind of potential, but it seems to me understanding all of that technology and what it's done allows artists and creators to change the world in some way, and as architects there is that idea and the notion that in some way you enhance the world through your designs. Do you think really understanding the technology and the ramifications of it will in some way, like, because it's not just about Facebook, or it's not just about using these things because you can. It's really about what are you doing with these things, or what is the ramifications of it? Because the technologies can be, digital or in this age, but it can be anything really. It's just you're using different tools to make the work that you want to make.
Yeah, I think the comment you said about the necessity for immediacy through the digital realm, I find it interesting that with a photograph, for example, you would go through the process of going into a red room and watching it develop and understanding that process. And in the digital realm, there isn't that same we don't put that same amount of effort of a computer, and we just assume that it's done for us in an instant, and immediately is an immediate response to what is happening in real life. It's almost like it's humanizing a computer, and like in the way that we respond to something, and we see something, and then we have our understanding pretty much like that, or we assume it's like that. And maybe we're trying to use the digital, we expect the same immediacy in a digital form because that's what we expect in ourselves. I don't know, I think that I am thinking out loud, but yeah, I like that statement that we are reliant on immediacy. But I don't think I actually understood your final question, and I can do that.
I remember it now. I just wanted to say that the immediacy thing is quite interesting because it allows everyone to become the producer. It allows anyone to become part of it. It allows anyone to manipulate its software. Like Linda's not a medical technician, but she can use ImageJ to do something else. It's kind of anarchic in a way, and it's like empowering to the individual.
But it's like empowerment, but it's not you who's actually developing the form. It's a program or a digital language that is actually doing that, and yet you feel you press the button, so you have just done that, and you've just developed a form. Oh, no, I'm not pointing it. I'm saying the overall view, but like we all do that. We feel like we've clicked yes, so we've done that process of accepting a friend request or whatever it may be. I think,
I think in terms of your question about the relevance of it, relevance of understanding how it's being produced or the process of it to be able to manipulate it better, I think what everyone, in terms of the immediacy, because we want it so much, I mean, to immediately happen for us, and we sort of like, we don't have that understanding, I think, and that's where it's lacking. I think Visuality makes a comment about how architects should take more of a role in terms of redesigning software or understanding the software themselves and how they work to be able then to understand how they can manipulate it past its limitations. So I don't know if that was your... That's it.
All right, thank you guys.